Sometimes the ocean is a beautiful home to tropical islands, and, well, sometimes it's a never-ending nightmare hiding cursed islands and haunted triangles, apparently. Here are the top 10 dark places more terrifying than the Bermuda Triangle. Let's count them down. Kicking off the list at number 10, Bermeja, aka the Vanishing Island. Is this where Wonder Woman lives? This is crazy. Bermeja sounds a lot like Bermuda, but they're very, very different. I'd say Bermeja is darker, almost, dare I say. Bermeja Island was seen on several maps. Cartographers clocked it numerous times, as you would on island. I'm talking back in the 16th century, but in 1997 it wasn't seen during a survey, and again in 2009 when researchers went to go find this location, it was gone. It had vanished. It disappeared. It was originally charted off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, and it was an 80 square kilometer island, so not small. But the leading theory to its absence was that this cartographer maybe put a fake island on the map to spot copycats. That's one way to watermark your work, also one way to get people lost as shit. But do we believe it? Some cartographers say the island has been sunk since 1844, and others say it's still there. Number 9, the Forbidden City. The Forbidden City, there's a name. Let's talk about this one. Built all the way back in 1420, around the time of the Ming Dynasty, the Forbidden City is said to be extremely haunted. Aside from being the largest ancient palatial structure on the planet, we also got ghosts. Love it. Located in Beijing, China, it's one of the 5 most important palaces in the world. It was the Imperial Palace of China from 1420 to 1912, and more than 24 emperors lived here. This massive city took 1 million workers 14 years to build. Inside the city, there's around 980 buildings, 8,000 rooms roughly, so a lot of rooms to haunt. It's ghost paradise in there, I guess. It was declared a World Heritage Site in 1987, but come 2000, a Starbucks was built on the land. I'm not kidding. The classic, that's why I had to throw this in. There's a Starbucks here. You can get a venti latte and also be haunted. This is wild. By the time 2007 came along, there was enough outrage to get officials to close that Starbucks, so sorry to tell you, no more venti lattes, Sarah. You have to go somewhere else. Number 8, Mount Osore. Mount Osore is not the name of just one single mountain, but an entire mountainous range. So, threw like a 4-in-1 for this one, I guess. I don't know how mountains work. Translating to Mount Fear, great nickname, this area is known as the entrance to the afterlife because it features all the geographical elements that are similar to the Japanese Buddhist descriptions of paradise and hell. I'm like, we have one mountain in Vancouver, I don't know. Not only is the area home to 8 symbolic mountaintops, but also a lake with acid water that one species of fish can survive in. Nothing but bear pits full of vipers and acid water. Is this like Zelda? I feel like this is Ocarina of Time. Not an ideal spot to take the family camping. That's all I'm saying. Beyond this mountain range, it gets interesting. There's a river that's known as the border between Earth and Hell. So, if you have your swimsuits on, go take a little dip. This is where each and every soul must cross in order to reach the afterlife, so actually avoid it. I lied. If I'm somehow selling you on this idea and you want to go take a trip to Viper Lane, when you get there, you'd find statues and offerings along the banks of the river, which are intended to help the past souls find their way during this journey, because it's definitely not good if the souls were to get lost. As I said, also a gateway to hell. Every year from July 22nd to July 24th, those wanting to communicate with the dead will head here. They'll head to the temple to speak with the spiritual mediums known as the Atako. So if you're feeling like spicing up your weekend, maybe, go say hi to Gam Gam, here you go. Just bring your water shoes. Sounds like a trek. Number 7, Ghost City. Fengdu is located in China, and it's also referred to as the City of Ghosts. Again, more ghosts, we love it. For a long time, it was believed that this is where the dead would stop on their way to the afterlife. In order to get there, they have to pass 3 tests. Let's talk about them. The first test is for the newly departed soul who must cross over the Bridge of Helplessness, which is a little bit different than the Bridge to Terabithia, although equally as sad, equally surprisingly as sad. This is meant to judge their virtue. There are demons here who judge whether the soul is good or bad, and the good ones can pass while the bad ones are pushed into the water below. Imagine a demon pushing you into the water. I'd die again, dare I say. The ones who pass the first test go on to the Ghost Touring Pass, where they stand in front of the ruler of the underworld. If they pass the judgment test, then the third and final trial takes place at the Tianzi Palace, where they will stand on a certain stone on one leg for 3 minutes. This is where all that hot yoga comes in handy. Only a small amount of souls can do this, apparently. If you lose your balance, maybe you're not wearing your minimal runners, well, you'd be condemned to hell. Right now, I'd be good. I got the one up. Fengdu also now has many temples and shrines which holds paintings and sculptures that show people in the underworld. So if you want to go visit and check it out, I'd recommend it. Just, again, get that balance down. Number 6, North Sentinel Island. All right, getting more to the island, the tropicalness of this list. Heading over to India, this island, you've probably heard of it. It's home of the Sentinelese tribe, one of the most forbidden islands in the world, but do you really know why? Located in the Bay of Bengal, North Sentinel Island is about 1,200 kilometers away from India. And while most islands are shrinking or seemingly vanishing, this one actually grew back in 2004. The island lifted up a couple of meters during an earthquake, so the west and south sides gained an extra kilometer. That's massive. Imagine seeing this happen. It'd be slow, but you definitely notice. The inhabitants on this floating cursed island are among the few uncontacted tribes left in the world. Period. They've apparently been there for 50,000 years. There's no sign of agriculture or fire or smoke or anything yet. We know this tribe has continued to thrive. If we try and get close, they try and drive anybody away, and they use all means possible. It's pretty scary. Number 5, underwater Mayan cave. Back in 2018, a diver was exploring flooded caves in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. They were at the beach, they saw this opening about 1.5 feet wide, barely big enough for one person, and they thought, oh, I'll go through it because, you know, they're insane. I could never do this. I can't even swim like under the pool ladder, let alone do any of this. I can't. My heart races reading this. This diver went through, which is terrifying and impressive. Once they were in, they found this underwater tunnel connected to the Sac Atun Cave and the Dos Ojos cave systems. That's a pretty wonderful discovery, not gonna lie. It's considered one of the longest underwater systems in the world, running about 347 kilometers long. So that's a long way to go, so hold your breath. This cave has been untouched since the last ice age, and the 200 spots were filled with bones, Mayan altars, fossils belonging to, of course, now extinct animals. It's a literal time capsule from thousands of years ago. If you're diving through these small cave entrances, don't go alone, honestly. You might get stuck. Or, apparently, you might find bones, or the possible entrance to the underworld. Just take your goggles, you never know what you're gonna expect. All things I don't want to experience, let alone experience underwater. Hard pass. If you're a splunker, hats off to you. Can't even spell splunking. Number 4, Eilean Mor, Scotland. I've only been to Scotland twice, but this story makes me want to keep it at a nice number 2. That's it. Not going again. Never. Do you guys have haunted islands? What's going on over there, huh? What better island to visit than one with nobody on it, right? Doesn't that just sound like paradise? In 1900, a ship was heading to the Flannan Islands, and it was completely uninhabited at the time. And on the ship, we had Captain James Harvey and Joseph Moore. Just 2 dudes. They were heading there to watch the lighthouse, but upon arrival, nobody greeted them. He blew his horn, waited, still nobody was there. There was supposed to be a replacement lighthouse keeper that would, come to shore and then they would swap out roles, but nothing was happening. So they started walking up the steep set of stairs towards the lighthouse, looking around, nobody was there. When he got there, he realized the door was unlocked, and 2 of the 3 coats were missing, and upon further investigation, he saw half-eaten food, a chair that had been tossed over, and a kitchen clock that had completely stopped. I mean, that's, things stop working sometimes. That's not too bad. But there's no sign of the keepers. That's the craziest part. When checking the lighthouse log, the previous days didn't sound too good. It wasn't great. It wasn't like, hey, had a couple days of rain, but the rest was gorgeous. Have fun, cheers. No, it wasn't like that at all. It was creepy. The December 12th log read, severe winds, the likes of which I've never seen before in 20 years. James was awfully quiet, and William the third lad was crying the whole time. That's a pretty sinister log. I don't know. It's like, the winds are pretty crazy. James is crying and he's on the ceiling. I'm just gonna write this down. No one look at me. Number 3, Vancouver Island, BC. This one, it's close to home. Oh boy. Vancouver Island is home to dozens of disappearances, and no one really knows why. In late July 1993, young Lindsay Nichols was walking along Royston Road in the Comics Valley, and then she was never seen again. Again in 2018, on the 25th anniversary of her disappearance, her mother Judy said in an interview with Victoria News that there were around 400 tips, numerous excavated sites, and 15 polygraph exams completed by the RCMP, but still, there was nothing. There's also been a huge spike in missing men over the last 20 years. They're all similar in age and looks, so the online community thinks that there's something else going on that's a bit more dark and sinister. You know what I mean? What do you guys think is going on here? I had to throw in a real, kind of real life dark one instead of spooky underground tunnels, just to mix it up. We're getting a little serious now. Number 2, the Paris Catacombs. What feels like a never-ending maze, these tunnels under Paris stretch for hundreds of miles. I've seen a movie on this one time. It's so scary. I'm never checking this place out. Scotland, Paris, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just staying here forever. There have been movies on these catacombs. As above, so below. That's what it's called. There we go. Knew I could think of it. Originally, these tunnels were built for Paris stone mines, but near the end of the 18th century, its purpose started to shift, rather. I don't know, it's gross. Cemeteries were starting to pile up. Literally. They weren't as good as getting rid of bodies in clean ways as we are now, so they just handled bodies like we handle garbage. Just out of sight, out of mind. We'll just toss them in one place and just pretend it doesn't exist. So bodies would be laying on the side of the road, they start to pile up, so the solution here was to use these catacombs. These tunnels have been there for centuries, so you might as well put them to good use. By good use, I mean let's just stack skulls in an orderly fashion and terrify people for hundreds of years to come. Awesome. Number 1, the Dragon's Triangle. Oh, you thought there was only one spooky triangle in town? Think again, my friend. The Dragon's Triangle is located in the Pacific. It's like the evil sister of the Bermuda Triangle. And just like the Bermuda one, this triangle also takes blame for disappearing ships and planes. Now we got numerous triangles to worry about. This is some Illuminati Mother Earth stuff going on here. One of the most intriguing parts of this triangle is that this monument is sitting at the bottom of the ocean right in the middle of it. It's called the Unigani Monument. You've probably heard of it before on this channel. This structure was discovered back in the 80s near, of course, Unigani Island in Japan. And the claim is that this was once an ancient city. It's 160 feet long, this monument, and it's 65 feet wide, so pretty small city, so that's why we're kind of torn over this one. Some think this object is man-made with the lines being so straight. It looks like these paths were carved almost. There's like literal tiny stairs. I can totally see how this resembles something like the pyramids of Egypt. But the fact that it's so deep underwater makes us think that it was a natural formation. Maybe. Either way, it's a triangle. It's spooky. Things disappear and there's something in the water. That's enough for me. That's it. Those are the top 10 dark places more terrifying than the Bermuda Triangle. If you want more, there's probably more triangles. Sound off below and I'll gladly return. I'm Taylor McWaters. See you next time on Most Amazing Top 10. Peace. Yeah, it's just like, I would probably work around it. I think growing up with ads, I could probably do it. All those pop-ups growing up, I'm like, oh, easy. I can watch Spider-Man 2 pirated with an ad in the way. Between Hearth crossed over the bridge of helplessness. If I can do also now, I can't do that anymore. I'm flying here, I gotta slow down. Sorry, ooh, back it up a little bit. Sorry, thank you. And we'll just skip the rest. That's too long. There we go. It seems more smooth. I was like, that could be the one right there.